Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I am going to show you how to make some cute little gift bags. And mine are going to be decorated for Christmas, but you can use these all year round. So these gift bags were created with the Sunny Studios Sweet Treat Bag die set. And with this die set, you can make a gift bag with several different handles or flaps at the top. So this particular gift bag has some holes punched at the top with some ribbon as the handle. This particular gift bag has a flap that you can open and close. You can see that you can tuck it inside so that you can have a flap that actually closes on top of the bag. And then this particular gift bag has a handle built into the bag that you can grab to hold the gift bag. And I want to quickly show you this gift bag that you can decorate with an add-on set and decorate it like a little house and create a little scene. So here is a look at the die sets that I used to create these gift bags. The one on the right is the actual die set for the gift bag itself. So that one actually makes the structure of the gift bag and has all of the different dies for creating the different handles. The die set on the left is the add-on set, and that is the set that I used to create the house. So you have the roof for the house, the door, the windows, and then there's some other little add-on decorations like you can do a wreath and also some other windows around the door. So I want to show you a paper pad that I will be using in this video. This is the Sunny Studio Very Merry collection. It is a 6x6 paper pad and it has beautiful Christmas papers. And I will also be bringing in another 6x6 paper pad, but I don't have that to show you for a flip through, and it's going to be called the Holiday Cheer paper pad. I do have that in another video, which I will link down below in case you want to take a look at that one as well. So really quick, I do want to mention that all product links will be listed down in the description box. So if you are interested in purchasing any of these products, please take a look down in the description box of this YouTube video. They will also be listed on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. So I'm going to start out by using the main die to make the structure of the actual gift bag. I'm just using a wire cutter to cut out all of the individual dies that are inside of this large die. And to make your gift bag, you will need to pick out 2 pieces of pattern paper and die cut it twice. After you run it through your die cut machine, there are several score lines on the actual gift bag pieces that you die cut, and you're just going to fold at your score lines on both pieces. For this gift bag, I'm going to be making a handle bag. So I'm actually lining up both of these die cut pieces so that they are lined up evenly, and I'm just using some mint tape to keep them together, because when I die cut the handle out of this particular die you see here, I'm actually going to run it through both pieces together. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that that handle is in the same spot on both sides of my gift bag. So you can see I've already run it through my die cut machine, and you can see the handle that is cut out of the top. And that handle, when you do die cut it, make sure you put it along the top flat edge of your gift bag. So here I'm just using my bone folder just to get a good fold along these score lines, because I'm going to be putting this bag together and actually gluing these 2 pieces together to form the actual gift bag. And the sides of the gift bag have these additional score lines that you can fold if you want to. You don't have to fold those inside lines, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because those score marks are already there, and I just want to show you what it's going to look like. Now, if you don't press those scores down, then you're not going to have those little indentions there in the side. So once I have folded all of those score lines, I'm ready to put this bag together. So you can see that one side is going to be the top and one will be the bottom. I am using my 1/4 inch score tape just to put along these little flaps here on the side. If you wanted to use glue, you totally can do that. So I put the score tape there, and then I'm going to attach the side of the box or the bag. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to add my 1/4 inch score tape. This is just double-sided adhesive tape. And then I'm going to wrap around the other side of the box and attach that. with the other side. And just press that down really well. I'm using my bone folder just to get a good press. And now I'm ready to work on the bottom of the bag. So the bottom of the bag just folds up. So if you want to use tape, you can, or if you want to use glue, you can do that as well. I used both in this video. You'll see that I think this bag has some tape, and then in some other bags down in the rest of the video I do use glue. It's really your preference. It doesn't matter. They both hold up pretty well. And here I'm going to add some more tape to the bottom of this flap, and I'm just going to take back the double-sided adhesive backing and press that down really well. Okay, so that is the gift bag with the handle. So now I'm going to decorate this bag. Of course, you can leave it like it is with the pattern paper, but I'm going to use the stamp set North Pole by Sunny Studio. It has all these cute little elves and Santa and Mrs. Claus. I am not going to use all of these stamps. I'm simply going to stamp out the Santa Claus as well as his list. And I'm going to color those up, and I'm going to add those to my gift bag. So here I've stamped out my Santa Claus on some Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth cardstock using my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'm just going to color him up with some standard Santa colors. So for my reds, I'm using R24, R27, and R29. And I will zoom in here in just a moment. I'm sorry it's so far away. So here we go. So then I'm going to use some blacks. I have C9 as my darkest. I'm going to color up his belt with that. Just put that in some of the shadow areas. And then I'm going to come in with C7. I'm also going to color the boots with those same colors as well as his gloves. And I'm going to finish up the rest of the belt buckle. And then the outside of that belt buckle is YR27. For his face, I'm going to be using the R20 and the R11. And then I'm going to color up his nice list with some gray markers. And I'm going to be using C4, C2, and C000. I'm going to be bringing in some of the fancy frame dies, and these are some circle scallop dies. There's several in this stack, and these cut out a circle frame. So I'm just separating these dies using my wire cutters because I have not used them before. So the die cuts out an outside scallop and an inside scallop. So you can see you have the outside edge and then the inside edge if you wanted to drop that in. I did die cut one of the scallops out of red and white cardstock. So I'm actually going to be using the inside piece for the white, and I'm going to be using one of the reds for the outside piece. And then I'm just going to pop my Santa right in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down, starting with the white inside piece, adding the red, and then I'm going to add the Santa with his nice list. So that completes my first gift bag. For my next gift bag, I am going to be making a gift bag with a flap, and you'll need that oval piece to make the flap. So I went ahead and die cut 2 of the pattern paper out of the gift bag die, and then this particular square piece you need to cut a little cutout of your gift bag in order to insert the flap. And here I'm just measuring to make sure I have it centered, and that little square piece is going to be placed at the edge of the flap part of the gift bag at the top of the gift bag, and you only need to cut it out of one side of the gift bag. Next, you're going to take this die and you're going to place it in the center of the oval shape of the flap. And then you're going to add some tape just to keep it in place, and then both pieces will be run through your die cutting machine. So once that comes out of the die cut machine, just remove the dies, and you can see the little cutout that you have here, and there's your little flap, and then just fold your gift bag base. Just fold at the score lines just like we did with the first gift bag, and you're going to do that for both pieces of your gift bag. So I'm just folding all of those score lines down really well, and now I'm going to add my double-sided adhesive tape to the flaps, and I'm going to put this gift bag together. So I'm going to tape one side of the bag to the opposite side of the bag. Just press that down really well. I'm going to use my bone folder just to press that down and make sure it's adhered well. Then I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to put it on the opposite side and remove that backing and just wrap that gift bag right around and then adhere the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to do the bottom, so just tuck in the side flaps, and then I'm going to add some tape. And then I'm just going to press that down and make sure I get a firm press on the bottom of the bag. And again, if you wanted to use glue, you most certainly can do that as well. I did use glue on one of my bags and it worked out perfectly fine. So here I'm going to take this oval piece, I'm going to fold down that score, and here I'm just going to add glue on the piece that has the score line. And notice how I'm going to tuck this inside. That's the back of the gift bag. And I'm just going to press down that flap on the back of the gift bag and then bring that flap around the front, and it tucks right into that little notch that you cut out. Okay, so you can see how that just tucks in just like that, and you have a gift bag that closes. So this particular die will cut out a little dome shape that if you wanted to put the same color pattern paper or cardstock just to fill in that space there, you can do that. If you don't care and don't mind having the other pattern paper showing through, then you can just leave it alone. But here you can actually just cut that out and then pop that right in. And I'll do that towards the end. I will put that little piece in there. I wasn't going to put it in there, but then I decided to go ahead and add it. So I'm going to go ahead and decorate this bag, and I'm using the Jolly Gingerbread stamp set from Sunny Studio. I'm going to use this gumdrop border as well as the little gingerbread man and girl as well as the gingerbread house. This is such a cute stamp set. I absolutely love anything gingerbread, so I thought this would look great with the candy cane pattern paper, so that's why I chose it. So I went ahead and stamped out my images. Again, on the Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth cardstock using my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'm just coloring the images up. So I also stamped out 2 hats, and I'm going to incorporate those on my gingerbread people. So the colors that I'm using for the house, E37 is my darkest shade. I also have E33 as my midtone and E31. So I'm coloring that up. Look at all the detail in this gingerbread house. It has 2 little candy canes on the left and right side of the door. Oh my gosh, how cute. And then the top window is an actual peppermint. So I don't know if you can see that, how cute that is. And then you can see that the little trim around the roof of the house, you can actually make that look like little candy pieces. And then you can see that there's little gumdrops down at the base of the house. How adorable is that? So I'm going to show you the coloring for one of my gingerbread men. I'm using the same colors that I used for the house. So just coloring that up, and you can choose to leave the little frosting or those accent pieces white, or if you want to color them in, you can do that. I do color the buttons with some blue Copics, but I do choose to leave the frosting white. So here I'm just coloring up some of the little candy canes and the peppermint. The reds are R27, R24, and R22. So those are all of my red colors. And now I'm just going to color up my little gumdrops. I am using my greens, YG3 and YG5. And some of the blue colors are B0000, B01, B02, and B05. And then also my pinks are R83 and R85. I'll make sure all of my Copic colors are listed in the description box. So if you want to use any of these same colors, you'll have those. So I do color the windows up in some blues. And I'm also going to color the winter hats in some of the blue shades. Now I did color up the gumdrops that are at the bottom of the house, but I end up coloring up all of the gumdrops in that border, the gumdrop border, and I end up covering up, when I put this on my gift bag, the gumdrops that are at the bottom of the house. So I did die cut these, and you can see how I'm just using that gumdrop border and just placing it right over top of the existing gumdrops. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this directly to the bag. I think decorating these little gift bags, oh my gosh, it just steps it up a notch. I think it just turns out super cute. So to make sure that stamp is pressed down really well, I do stick my hand inside the bag just to make sure that I can press that down. And then I'm going to add the two little gingerbread people on the left and right side of the house. And notice that I'm tucking them behind the gumdrops. And then I'm just going to add their hats. And I stamped out the sentiment Merry Christmas, and I'm just going to add that to the flap on that gift bag. And then here's where I go ahead and insert that little dome shaped piece just to cover up the candy cane paper and make it all look cohesive. So here's a look at my bag, and I just love how this one turned out. Okay, so moving on, I am using this snowman stamp set. It's called Feeling Frosty. It has all of these adorable snowmen. I'm only going to color up a few of them here. Went ahead and stamped them out, and I'm coloring up with my Copic markers. I do want to mention for the snowman itself, I'm coloring up with some gray markers. So I'm adding a little bit of shadow using the C2. I actually ended up going back in with my C4 and making a little bit darker. And then I just go over that with the C2 and then the C0 and the blender just to add some shadow there so it's not so white and so flat looking. I wanted just to make it pop a little bit. Okay, so the colors B00, B02, B05 are my blues, and I also am using some reds, R22, R24, and R27. And I'm going to use the YR18 for the nose of the snowman. So I'm using 2 snowman on my 3rd gift bag. I will make a 4th gift bag, and I ended up stamping out another snowman from that set, but I end up coloring it off camera. So I'm just showing you the coloring of 2, and I also stamped out a pair of mittens, and I'm going to color those up because one of my snowmen will have these mittens on his or her hand. So for this bag, I'm going to be using a piece of pattern paper that includes a snowy scene. So I want to make sure that that snow is at the bottom of the gift bag. So I have to be careful of how I place my die when I die cut this paper. So you can see that the bottom of the die is at the bottom portion of that pattern paper. Now my intention was to die cut 2 of these, but the other piece of the matching pattern paper, I actually die cut it the wrong way. So I end up having to take a different piece of pattern paper for the back of my bag. So first I'm going to add my snowman to the scene before I actually put this bag together. So I'm just going to glue these down. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I'm going to stamp the sentiment directly onto the bag. Now, if you wanted to stamp the sentiment off of the bag, like maybe just on a scrap piece of paper and then add it to the bag, you can most definitely then just put your bag together and then add your snowman afterwards, but that's simply up to you. So next I'm going to take both sides of my bag and I'm just making sure that they are positioned together. I'm going to tape them together, and I'm going to take these 2 little round dies. Those are going to cut holes out of the top of the bag. That way you can put a piece of ribbon or string in there for the handle. And I'm just making sure that I have them spaced evenly apart. Now if you didn't want to use these dies, you can also just use a hole punch and punch holes in the top and then use your ribbon to string through, but that's what these dies are used for. So I go ahead and run that through my die cut machine, and when that comes out of the die cut machine, I just remove the tape, and you can see that it did put the holes on the front and back side of the bag. So here I'm just gonna put this bag together. I'm just gonna go a little bit fast because you've already seen it 2 times before. Now if I would have used that same pattern paper that I used for the front and used it for the back, it would have looked like a snowy scene all the way around that bag. But again, because I messed up on the die cut of that other piece of pattern paper, I just use a pattern that has trees all in the background of my scene. So next I take a piece of ribbon and I tie one end into a knot, and I'll take the other end and I will put it through the middle of the bag, or the inside of the bag coming out toward the outside, and then wrap it around on the inside and tie another knot. And then there is my front handle. I'm just going to trim down the insides where the knot is. And then I'll do the same thing for the back side. So again, tie the ribbon in a knot on one end. Take that ribbon and I'm going to start at the inside of the bag and come out to the outside, and then wrap it through the outside back to the inside and tie that other end in a knot. And then I'll just trim off the ends to make them even. And that will complete my bag. So there's my third bag. And then my last bag, I want to show you how to use the Sweet Treat House add-on to create a bag that looks like a house. So I have this die and then these other two dies. So I die cut the larger die out of some white cardstock, and then I die cut 5 of the scallops. And I'm just going to layer those on to the larger white piece. So I'm going to start with the bottom and I'm going to work my way up, layering these white scallops one on top of another. So I did the white because I wanted it to look like snow. You can do any color you want, and what's fun about this die is you can make your bag look like a house. And I'm just gonna give it a little winter scene, but this can totally be used any time of year. So if you take a look at the bag, you can see that I've already put one set of scallops on one side of the bag. This one that I'm creating right now is for the opposite side. So there is a score line. I just folded at that score line, and then I'm just putting glue on the whole thing and then tucking the flap on the inside of the bag and then pressing down those scallops on the outside. So that would be for the roof of the house. Now I did another set of scallops, and this is going to be for the side of the box. So you can see that if you count over 5 scallops, it will give you 5 on one side and 5 on the other. I'm just going to actually take my trimmer and I'm going to cut it right down the middle after I get the 5th scalloped piece. And I'll just trim that down, and that way I'll have a piece for each side of my box, so that when my box is completed, this box will be completely three-dimensional. So it'll wrap around the entire roof line, will wrap around the entire top part of that box. Next, I'm going to die cut the door. I want to have a frame for the door, so I'm layering these two dies together. I'm going to die cut some white cardstock, and I'm going to use some tape to keep them together. And then I'm also going to die cut the window the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and add the frame for the door, and then I also die cut the inside pieces out of some blue pattern paper. And I die cut the large square piece for the window out of some yellow, and I'm going to layer the frame of the window on top of the yellow cardstock. So this add-on set also comes with a wreath. So I die cut the wreath out of green cardstock, and there's also a bow. So I went ahead and die cut that out of some red pattern paper, just layering on those pieces of the bow, and then I'm going to add those to the wreath. There's also a die for some small berries for the wreath. So I'm just going to add some glue and add these little tiny red berries to my wreath. And then I'll add that wreath directly to the front of the door. Next, I die cut a snowy border, and I'm just going to put some snow there at the bottom. So this is actually a slimline die, so it was pretty long. I just measured it up there on the front and then trimmed off what I didn't need and used the extra pieces on the side of the box. And then I did have to die cut one more for the back of the box. So next I just added the snowman to the front of the scene, and that will finish off the front of this bag. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is just punch some holes in the top and add a ribbon, and that will complete this gift bag. So there's a final look at this gift bag, and here's a look at all 4 gift bags that I created using this die set. So once again, all links will be down in the description box below. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more inspiration. Have a great day. Bye-bye.